Namaskar to all of you. I am sorry I have not read the book because it has just been released. I was sent a soft copy by Swati, but since I do not have a computer and do not have an iPad, I could not go through it on the smartphone. Also, I don't have a mobile phone, so I was just able to glance through the book. The book has 3 sections. The first one is about Tagore's philosophy in general. And the second one is about the education theories of Tagore, his experiments in education. And the third one is, in general, what happened after Vishwabharati was set up by him. The book is coming at the right time. Whatever is happening now in the country is just what the Tagore opposed and did not like and stand for. The jingoistic nationalism which we see today, Tagore was totally opposed to that. His essay titled Nationalism, I think, is a seminal work and one of the finest things written anywhere about nationalism, what nationalism means. Tagore was an internationalist, and his theories of education, in the sense that he did not propound any theory as such, but whatever his ideas were, they are scattered through his voluminous writings. Tagore was he was like a Niagara. The genius of Tagore, it's difficult to sum up Tagore, his genius. And as I said, he stood for values which were eternal. He said, the present problem in India is not political. Let us first liberate our society from the tyranny of hidebound customs and dedicate it to a spirit of liberality. This is our first duty. And now when we see that efforts are being made to take us back to those hidebound customs, I think this is a great reminder that we have to go back to Tagore. Last year I was asked to write an essay by the Tagore Society of Houston, and in that I said, the essay is titled Tagore, Gandhi and Ambedkar. And I said that the first half of the 20th century belonged to Gandhi, the second to Ambedkar. 21st century belongs to Tagore. People have tried to synthesize the thoughts of Ambedkar and Gandhi and not succeeded because they are poles apart. Tagore is the one in whom you find not only the synthesis of two ideologies, but also the modern way of looking at our tradition. This book has, as I said, just glancing through, I'll read it now that the book has been given. Many insights are there. Kumarappa has written that Indians worship authority. Now, this is as true now as it was during Kumarappa's time when the book was written about 100 years ago. And then, as Tagore said, religion preaches freedom. Religious organization chants of slavery. What we are seeing around us is organized religion chanting slavery. So whatever is happening now around us is what Tagore was totally opposed to. I know for sure that the present dispensation is in some ways opposed to Tagore's thinking, because Tagore opposed this kind of narrow nationalism, this kind of going back to organized religion, about caste system, etc. And he said, for example, caste is a millstone around our neck. Now, when the Ambedkar Museum was set up in Delhi some 4, 5, 6 years back, the designer, who is a friend of mine, was told not to mention Manusmriti at all, forgetting that Ambedkar started his major movement by burning the Manusmriti. So you have this dispensation which is totally opposed to the ideas of Tagore and Ambedkar also. Tagore was always concerned with the inner illumination of consciousness. This is a quote from Tagore, inner illumination of consciousness. If you read his poems, Gitanjali, most of us have read Gitanjali either in Bengali or translation. Even in translation, this illumination of consciousness comes through. And when you see the output of Tagore, you are amazed that one person could do so much in one lifetime. Some 3,000 songs written and composed. Some three.
How many songs?
3,000.
2,232.
Okay, I stand corrected, but even 2,232, no one else has done it.
No one in the world has done
Yeah.
that.
So maybe 3,000 is the poems and songs together. That would be 3,000, because I remember reading the word 3,000, that's why I quoted it. But say 2,200 odd songs, and then the poems, and the corpus of over 3,000 works, some 300 short stories, some 18, 19 novels.
18.
Yeah. About 1,000 paintings, which he started doing in his 60th year, and articles, his travels, his addresses. It's something amazing. The mind boggles when you look at his output. And he said, the more I take varied work on my hands, the more I learn to love and respect work. Acharya Hazari Prasad Dwivedi has written in his book on Tagore, Mrityunjay Rabindranath, he says, the book is in Hindi, but I'll mention it in English. He went to see Tagore. He was head of the Hindi department in Shantiniketan, and he was picked up by Tagore from Banaras and kind of mentored and nurtured by him. So he says, I went to see him, and it was blazing June summer, and sitting in the veranda, he was painting, and he took a flower and rubbed the flower for the color. And of course, it was very hot in Bolpur, Shantiniketan, and he looked at Tagore in that heat with no fan or anything, sitting in the veranda painting. He said, see, Vidhata sent me on this earth in the month of Vaishak, and therefore I have to work in heat. So the amazing work that he did, and I was fortunate in having two teachers from Shantiniketan. Our history teacher in the college, Professor Hasrat, and Acharya Hazari Prasad Dwivedi I was close to. Now, B.J. Hasrat, Vikramjit Hasrat, it's very interesting because he came from Shantiniketan. He used to have his classes in the college garden, not in the room. And anyone could attend those classes. In fact, I was not a student of history. I was a student of earth sciences, but his teaching was so interesting that I always attended his classes. It was a free period for me. And I would go and sit in his class in the garden. Those are the kind of educational ideas which people imbibe from Tagore. Uh, and also Tagore, he said, if we desire the welfare of India as a whole, Hindu and Muslim must not only unite, but they must come together on a footing of equality. Where we are today, Tagore said, Hindu and Muslim must not only unite, but they must come together on a footing of equality. Where are we going today? And about rural development, probably people do not know that the first 5-year plan of India, which was based on rural development, agriculture, etc., community development, was based on the Shri model of Tagore. And Mahalanobis, who was the principal architect of the first 5-year plan, was earlier Tagore's secretary also. Yeah. So all those ideas of Tagore, though no credit has been given to him officially, came from Shri Niketan and Tagore, and that was our first 5-year plan. Of course, later on things derailed and we have taken different view, but Tagore said that cooperative methods must step in. His idea of rural development was a cooperative venture. And also, it's very interesting, he said, for India to force herself along European lines of growth would not make her Europe, but only a distorted India. His contemporary Akbar Allahabadi, I suppose now we have to call him Akbar Prayagraji, he said, I suppose you would understand this simple Urdu, राह मगरिब, मगरिब इज वेस्ट, राह मगरिब में वो लड़के लुट गए, वहाँ न पहुँचे और हमसे छुट गए. This is what Tagore is also saying, that we will not become Europe, but only a distorted India. And this is what we are seeing around us, a distorted India. And also about education, he said, the highest education is that which does not merely give information, but makes our life in harmony with all existence. I believe that children should be surrounded with the things of nature, which have their own educational value. This was a model which, in fact, Shivram Karant in Karnataka adopted. He went to Shanti Niketan, studied what Tagore was doing there, and set up Balvana in Puttur. So the Balvana in Puttur was modeled on Shanti Niketan, where children would learn in the midst of nature. And as Tagore wrote textbooks for children, which got illustrated by Nandlal Bose, Shivram Karant wrote books for children and got them illustrated by K.K. Hebbar. So you see the influence of Tagore permeated all over the country, though people do not realize the far-reaching influence which Tagore's ideas had on our culture and country. He looked at Shantiniketan as kind of an ashram, a gurukula where education was imparted to children, to give them a holistic education. As Budeji has mentioned, his experience of normal schooling was unhappy. And that is actually mentioned in his poem, The Learning of Parrot, Training of Parrot. I think it's a very famous poem. Some of you might have even read it in English translation. But Tagore said, in my institution, I try to make 3 aspects of freedom. Freedom of mind, freedom of heart, and freedom of will. And freedom of mind is something which is emphasized again and again in his works. And as I said, we are going away from all that he stood for, all his ideas, and it's not the freedom of mind, it's the closing of the mind today that we see. So, therefore, this book is very welcome, because, as I said, the first part is about his philosophy, though Kumarappa also says that he doesn't agree with some of his ideas. For example, Tagore was opposed to Gandhi's non-cooperation movement. There were many differences. Tagore never believed that charkha could be the solution to India's problems, whereas Gandhi believed passionately in charkha and khadi, and Tagore thought this was all nonsense. And his view was, as I mentioned, not confined to narrow nationalism. He was an internationalist. So, in keeping with his ideas, he got teachers from all over the world at Shantiniketan. There was China Bhavan to teach Chinese and Japanese and East Asian art. Then he got people like Stella Kramrisch, the Austrian Indologist. They were visiting faculty from Europe. Many remarkable philosophers like Winternitz and all were there at Shantiniketan as visiting faculty. And you'll be surprised to know that he was so modern in his thinking. He got Bauhaus people to come to Shantiniketan and talk about the modernist movement. So far ahead he was of his times. He is so far ahead of our times also. And therefore it is time to rediscover what he stood for and what he practiced. And therefore this book is very timely, and I'm glad that it has been brought out with a new foreword by Professor G.N. Devi. He himself is a remarkable person. Single-handedly with a team which he built up, he did the linguistic survey of India, and he has been one of the few conscience keepers now we have around. And he left Gujarat because he felt the culture in Gujarat was now becoming suffocating, and he has come down and settled down in Dharwad. So Professor Devi has written the new foreword, and the book is really not only welcome but very, very timely. And thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to release the book. I only hope that the book is distributed all over. People are coming out of the habit of reading books, and maybe a soft version of the book for Kindle or whatever, those who like to read books online, maybe an online version of the book would be made available or is already available, I don't know. But the book should reach the people, and there should be much more discussion about the book. Thank you very much. I'm sure Adipda has much more to say about Tagore's contribution. And incidentally, he's one person in Bangalore who keeps the flame of Rabindra Sangeet, Tagore and his literature alive, and also Satyajit Ray's memory. Is the one person who has got complete set of Satyajit Ray's films. Satyajit again is a product of Tagore, along with Amartya Sen and Nandlal Bose, Vinod Bihari Mukherjee, and Ram Kinkar Baj, and so many other people, K.G. Subramaniam, etc., Ramachandran, all these people, they are products of Shantiniketan. So, thank you very much.